The Austin housing market is set for some trouble. Jeremy Knight, the Night Group, your favorite Austin realtor. Hey, if you're a homeowner getting ready to sell right now, this is absolutely the video you should watch. If you're a home buyer getting into the market right now, this is absolutely a video you should watch. I apologize right now if I'm going to ramble through this video, but there's so many things happening in the housing market right now and so many articles popping out. Drop a comment below if you're paying attention to the housing market, if you're paying attention to Austin. I want to hear from you in the comments. I want to talk about some of the new construction stuff that's happening because there's some news right now with the Builders Association, which is saying that builder confidence has risen. It went from 50% to 55%. And we're hearing a lot of different things in the market. So new construction is going to impact the housing market. As of right now in Austin, 33% of new construction makes up the Austin housing numbers right now. But builders are finding more confidence. And that's interesting because right now we still sit around 6.9% interest rate. Some of the things that I've been talking about with interest rate for a while here is that with the Fed not raising, potentially that could bring prices down slightly, but we're holding right now. So there's no real drop in that right now. We're coming to a time of year. In fact, we're going to go over the May numbers right now for Austin, but we're coming to a time of year where traditionally we see a slowdown in the market and we see prices drop. It's interesting to me right now because we have a lot of buyers looking in the market. I mean, my wife and I, we're a husband-wife team. We have between the two of us like 33 buyers that we're currently working with right now, either new construction or they're looking to buy. And so it's seasonally high for us. So that's something that's kind of anecdotal. I don't think that really means much for the housing market in general. But going back to the new construction thing, I want to know from you, do you want a full video breaking down new construction? Should you buy new construction? Should you stay away from new construction in 2023? I have some opinions on this, and I actually have some very strong opinions on this because if builders are out there saying that they're super confident, that actually doesn't give me confidence because we are seeing more housing starts. So that was some of the news that's been coming out over the last few weeks is there's more housing starts. But on the other hand, like this article right now with the Austin Business Journal is saying that Austin is trying to incentivize more multifamily building. This new program that Austin is trying to pass through the city council, if implemented, the program will allow developers to build multifamily developments on land zoned for single family use, encouraging the construction of multifamily on a single lot. So this is a new proposed market-driven approach that they're trying to do. And this has me a little concerned. The thing with this is that if you're taking away more of that single family housing and go towards multifamily, two things, right? Number one, a lot of people are saying you're going to rent and never and be happy, right? Well, Austin's kind of looking at that approach because they're really heavily going after multifamily. The other side effect of this is it's going to cause potentially single family home prices to go up. If we move from going towards single family homes and go towards multifamily or these ADUs and things like that, it could potentially over the long term cause home prices to go up even further in Austin, causing a more unaffordability issue to happen in the Austin area. If you're forced to rent and you don't buy a home because you can't afford it, then that's a problem. Now, we're looking at rates for rentals of coming down. I looked at Rent Cafe, and for a studio, we're down 7% rental right now. 2 bedrooms are down 7%. This is year over year, but 1 bedrooms are up 5%. So where you're hearing a lot of stuff about rental rates coming down, Austin's kind of staying, not too crazy of a drops. And what's interesting is we're going into the last half of the year where we're looking at potentially a lot of price drops. And I think it's really important because you're going to hear people talking about, in fact, when I talk about the Austin numbers here in a second, you're going to hear about all of these crazy price drops happening in the Austin area. And I want to give you some perspective. So in my zip code right now, last year, if you look at one data point that somebody put out, we're down 40%. So does that mean that the home that I bought last year is 40% lower than it was the year before? So people are going to start throwing around these big numbers. And I think it's really important because I looked into the data on this. So this year, and this is why things can be so, just numbers can be, I don't want to say faked, but they can be manipulated, right? Numbers can be manipulated because last year we had 44 homes sell in my zip code. 18 of those were over $1 million. This year, we only had 20 homes sell. Of the over 1 million were 2. So here's what happens. When you have a lot of homes sell in the higher price range, what ends up happening is that the numbers are inflated up. Now, what's happening is that means that most of the homes sold are under $1 million in my area. When I look at the data, it just shows me more people are buying that under 900 price point in my area. In fact, a lot of them are going after the 650 prices. And if you are a buyer looking in the future, I highly recommend. I just closed on an investment property, and normally I'd like to buy new construction. I didn't. I actually bought a home that needed to fix up a little bit. If you're a seller right now, looking at what the buyer wants, because sellers, you're going to be in trouble soon. Please, you need to pay attention. But if you're a buyer, most buyers look at stuff that doesn't need any work. You can just grab your toothbrush and move right in. Well, that's what most buyers want. What's on the market right now, there's 9,500 homes on the market in our MLS. That is a lot. Fun fact, 58% of those are vacant. So homeowners that are getting ready to sell, pay attention to that. Buyers, that might be your opportunity. And back to my numbers on this, I said there was a 40% decline, right? If you look at the numbers. But what was interesting is I actually ran the numbers. I looked at the comps here, and really I was down about 8% year over year from purchasing my home last year to this year based on the comps that sold. So you can't look at these 40% drops and assume that the price of your home has dropped 40%, or the fact that 40% drops means you're a buyer that can come in and write 40% below list price. Just not going to happen. When we see a huge reduction in sales, it actually manipulates the numbers. So be careful when you listen to these people saying the prices are dropping 40%, because really mine year over year dropped about 8%. In fact, I put in a pool, so really I actually gained a lot of value. So that's not really the case. So buyers, if you want to get a better deal going forward, go after those homes that maybe need a little bit of work, right? Maybe over the life of the home, you're going to put in a little bit of carpet, put in some countertops, and maybe paint up the cabinets in the future. I think that is where you're going to have the biggest return. Potentially, you're going to be able to write an offer on one of these homes and get a much better deal than somebody that has put 60 grand into the house, still needs to put another 60 grand into it, and they want this crazy high number. So sellers, be careful moving forward. Like you're not, like the numbers are pretty serious. In fact, the property I purchased, I need to put a little bit of money into it before I rent it out. And that's totally fine because I'm actually going to be able to rent it for a way more now. So something to think about there. So let's dive into the numbers on this, because I think it's really important to look at the numbers from May, because what happens is usually in May, we see a really big increase in prices. If you look at last year in May, we saw a huge increase in prices. This year, we did not see that. In fact, Austin, which I don't agree with their numbers and how they did this, actually saw a price decrease month over month. So we're still down in the Austin area, 15% if you're looking at the MSA. I have a problem with how they do the numbers for the MSA because they add Caldwell County. That's a side thing, but we saw a slight increase in the month over month numbers for the MSA. But for the Austin numbers, we actually didn't. We saw a decrease month over month, and a lot of that has to do with the amount of inventory hitting the market. New construction, look, if you're looking at new construction, and I do want to do a full video on new construction, and new construction has an advantage over you as a seller in the resale market, and the advantage is the fact that they can offer incentives to get lower rates. In fact, that's why builders are so happy right now, is they're able to go in and make deals with their people at 6.9%, we can actually give you 5.99%. So if you're a buyer, you're going, hey, that makes a lot more sense to me than getting 6.9% for a $700,000 home when I get a 750 home at a lower rate. The numbers are the same and I got a brand new home. So for you as a seller, you need to either make your home impeccably nice and ready to go and that good inventory, because the point I was trying to get at earlier is there's just not a lot of great inventory in the market. There's a lot of stuff that needs work. So that's where builders have an advantage over you sellers right now. But these numbers aren't good for Austin moving forward. We saw a month over month price drop, which I disagree with the numbers on that. And that's just simply because if you look, they have two different ways of how they run the numbers. It was an even instead of a decline. If you look at the city numbers versus their Austin numbers, however they report this, regardless, it should have been an increase and it wasn't. So I had said earlier this year that I think it's still possible that we see a year over year positive when it comes to December, November timeframe, because we ended the year at 525,000 after a really big drop in the numbers. Well, I don't think that that's going to actually happen. I think we'll probably end up negative year over year in December and not positive. Just because we didn't see a huge increase in May is why I'm thinking we'll probably see an even mark. Now, if you're a buyer looking at the market, I've been saying for a long time, coming up July, August, September, October are going to be the months to really heavily get in. Interest rates haven't dropped as much as we thought they may drop. So What's interesting though is that the MBA, the Mortgage Broker Association, is showing that there's more mortgage applications right now than the last week. So people are still looking in the market. But if you're a buyer, I would heavily get ready to get with a great agent that can help you negotiate really good prices. Like us, give us a call. We'll help you out, whether you're doing new construction or whether you're doing resale. And if you're that seller, you may have to potentially really not take a higher price. So what do you think about all of these numbers? Do you think that the Austin market's just going to see a massive crash? People are out there saying that. I think if you're a buyer, get ready. I think if you're a seller, you're going to have to really be strategic. Drop a comment below. We want to hear from you. Have a great day.